main business of this company is producing accessories and bespoke luggage for Ferrari, Lamborghini, Pagani, Bugatti, Rolls-Royce, Aston Martin, Bentley, McLaren, Rimac, Singer, a lot of high-end...
all the important ones.
Yeah, automotive companies.
So we're at the end of a pretty incredible and exhausting week. It started off in Chichester, England at Goodwood Festival. I was there to watch the F40LM run the hills. Incredible event, a lot of people, it's huge. So this is the first leg of what will be multiple trips out here. John and I sat down and had this idea that we wanted to show the world some of the things that we've discovered. And I know a lot of people think of Motor Valley and you think about Ferrari and Lamborghini and Pagani and Maserati and all the things, and Ducati and all those companies, but there's so much more to it. As we're putting this documentary together, we started to think about some cool locations, and we couldn't think of a better location than Bugatti. Kind of symbolizes perseverance, determination, and someone trying to capture what Motor Valley means. And I think we're gonna get in here. We have the authorization, but it's still really early in the morning in the US, and we haven't gotten the explicit invite yet. There's an open door, so we're gonna go around and see if we can get through the open door, and maybe the guy that has our name is gonna be there, see if we get lucky.
Oh, that's an open gate.
All right, is that an open door or is that a breach? You decide. Let's go. I bet you the food's amazing in Italian jail. Imagine this doesn't look like it's that old, and they started building this thing like in the 80s. It was, I think, one of the first workshops that was fully air conditioning. They had cool things like power pocket doors and electronic access points. It was really like ahead of its time. Just within 20 square miles of here, you have Ferrari, Lamborghini, Pagani. Then we thought about the old Bugatti factory. And what it represents is something really special in the history of this area. This was the determination and perseverance of a guy named Roman Artioli. What he was able to accomplish in that short time was produce this incredible advanced supercar. Now, this ultimately wasn't a success if you look at it in the smallest snapshot, but it was, because if you look at what Bugatti is today, this really gave birth to this resurgence. And then there's this entire industry of guys that may have worked here that are now off on their own, restoration shops. I think this was the perfect backdrop to tell the story about the visionaries and the artisans and the people that have dedicated their lives to the preservation and restoration of these incredible brands that are born and emanate from this area. Schedoni is a generational manufacturer of luggage and almost exclusively supplying luggage to most of the major supercar and exotic car manufacturers. So it's really cool.
Let me explain just briefly 144 years of history of my family business. It all started in Formigine by my great-grandfather. He started producing shoes in 1880, and the shoe production was kept by my grandfather. And at the end of the 60s, my father, the third generation, changed the production focus, and from shoes, he completely changed and started producing travel bags, suitcases, ladies' handbags, wallets, and small leather goods. In 1976, my uncle bought a Ferrari 308. He asked my father, since you produce luggage, why don't you come up with a custom-fitted luggage for my car? And my father said, sorry, Franco, I'm so busy, I have no time, forget it. Then in secret, he went to take measurement of the trunk of his car. And on Christmas Eve of 1976, we gave him a 4 pieces set of luggage to my uncle as a Christmas gift. And the following day, my uncle had one of his best friends out for the Christmas lunch at his home, Mr. Amerigo Manicardi, which at the time was the sales director of Ferrari. And before sitting to eat the traditional tortellini. He said, Amerigo, come with me. I take you to the garage and I show you something I got last night. He opened the trunk. Mr. Manicardi saw the luggage and he was so surprised. So on January 7, 1977, 47 years ago, my father walked for the first time the gate in Maranello, and they started a cooperation and took measurement of the luggage for the 512BB and the 400, which beside the 308s were the other two models of the road car range at that time. Then in 1983, Enzo Ferrari asked my father to trim the Formula One seats. We have a picture here, we have example here. This is the back of Michael Schumacher. From 1983 up to 2005, the seats were trimmed with this suede leather. Funny thing is that the leather, that we have been testing a lot of different types of leather to trim these seats, and the best one in terms of elasticity as well as weight, we found out it was the pigskin. So we say that these are the fastest pigs in the world.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to take you through the different steps of the production, and I will explain you how we produce this luggage. The first step is the selection of the leather and the cut of the leather. They just send us an order, telling us that we need to produce a set of luggage for a Cullinan or a Wraith, and the color are yellow combined with black or dark blue, and we have in-house the leather in order to be able to produce the luggage using exactly the very same leather in the same color. Once the leather is checked, everything goes in here. This is basically a plotter with a blade, so we cut the different parts of the leather, and once the different parts have been cut, not only in terms of leather but also in terms of backing material as well as lining, everything goes to the next step. You see she's applying some paint here, which then needs to be brushed using these parts which are made out of wool and leather, in order to make sure that the edge, exactly, when you touch an edge of a finished product, it's so smooth, it's a pleasure to touch. These are all the tools that we are using to emboss.
All the stamp embossing tools. So this is like the dream list, the bucket list, all in one box.
Every single product which comes out from this building carries the Schedoni name. Every single piece is bespoke according to the specification of the client. Talking about machines, this one comes from my grandfather's shoe factory. This is about 85, maybe not 85, but at least 65 years old, and we still use it.
So do you use it because of nostalgia and honor, or do you use it because it's still a really good machine?
Exactly, it makes a type of stitching which is actually used for all the current production of the Aston Martin Velour luggage. Once the products are finished, there is the quality inspection. Now I take you upstairs to my office. Schumacher had a crash in Silverstone and broke his leg. When he came back racing, he had a problem on the heel. The pressure of the shoe was creating a pain. Because my father had experience in the shoe production, they said, what can we do? And my father came up with the idea of producing this part, which is made out of Kevlar, and applying this here and gluing all this part. He was able to take off pressure on the heel. And for a few races, Michael raced with this feature glued on the shoe. These shoes were made in the Far East, so we couldn't get access to this leather, but my father found a leather which was very similar, and by hand he was painting the logo, the Nike logo. And so because we solved this and helped Michael on this issue with relationship with a sponsor, he gave us this shoe which he used to win a French Grand Prix, and it's amazingly, you see how worn is the bottom here with the pedal, you know, pushing on it. It's
That's incredible.
Yeah. This is traditional balsamic vinegar. The company, this line and this line were started by my great-grandfather. In this case, these two production were started in 1916, so 108 years ago, and it's given from father to son. So this was the best balsamic vinegar in Modena. Good.
Grazie. Let's see.
This is 52 years old.
That's amazing. Heading over to a familiar place, Cremonini. We're going to check up on a bunch of restorations that are still there, see how the progress on that's going, but kind of continue on educating ourselves with some of the power players here in Motor Valley.
Yeah.
Stefano is my assistant, young but good guy.
Well, that's good. That we want to talk about the youth and the next generation of doing this
Yes,
stuff.
you see around you all young guys. Everybody is around 30 and maybe less. 22.
22.
22.
Amazing.
22,
amazing.
and over there we have young guys too. You know, the guy over there is a young guy. Now he's sanding the mirror, preparing the clamshell for the painting. And he sometimes put eyes on
Watches and
his
checks their work.
and check if everything is right.
Yeah. You're basically
knows.
giving the next generation the skill to continue to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's.
You are. You're good.
Yeah.
And that's our Countach right there?
Yeah. From pictures, the period pictures, we saw that the door seal was not as we got the car. So now we are bringing back to the original the car, and so we will do for sure how it was the car in the beginning. This is the other.
The Royal
Countach.
Family. The Royal Family
yeah.
car, yeah.
We found the original color somewhere. I don't remember where. This is the original color, canna di fucile. And now we have to do the sample, the swatch, to proceed after for the restoration of the car.
Now we've come to eat lunch, and that in itself is an event in Maranello. You almost can't have a bad meal. What's great about it is all the restaurants are tied to the passion of Motor Valley. You can't go in anywhere without seeing a Ferrari sign or a Lamborghini sign. I mean, the front of this place, which was recommended, which supposedly has the best pizza in Maranello, has a wire frame of a 250 TDF hanging outside. And there's all this great memorabilia everywhere. I mean, if you're into memorabilia, just go to the restaurants. You find stuff that people would kill for, and pictures of icons, Enzo Ferrari, eating food, Michael Schumacher posing with the chefs. Just the other day, we were sitting in Montana, which is a very well-known Italian restaurant close to the factory, and we were there, and Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz were there, and it's just commonplace. So you're immersed in it. Everything about this area is related to the enthusiasm and the passion that is these marks that come out of it.
For you, the importance is preservation, because you developed the car, right? You gave birth to these cars.
Yes.
So that's why you're so serious about preserving them.
Preserving or restoring, for me, the condition it is that the car must be nice. Okay, must be a level to be nice. My preference is I would like cars that are you keep under a bell of glass.
Yeah.
Okay? But it is my choice. On the other side, I needed to understand that because the car does not belong to me and because the money are not mine, saying it straight, I needed to understand what the owners want, and based on that I make the job. So there can be different restoration. You can make a restoration which is very close to a preservation, and you can make restoration like the car that we are going to Pebble Beach, but you are doing a car for concours condition. And when you make a car for concours condition here, it was an easy job because I did not want to delete the sign of the history of the car.
Right, if it had like a lot of wins and some special races. So it's a balance, right? You're balancing this.
You don't have to make the condition, the mistake, to make a new car. That would be a mistake.
Do you find resistance because these are younger guys and they go, no, no, I want everything new, and you're telling them no? Or is everyone kind of starting listening to you?
No. When the instruction that I had from this customer, it was make the car 100% perfect, 100% new like that. But then you need to meet the customer and to explain the customer. When you explain, they understand, keep the history of the car, especially on a race car. Someone looked at the rims, the rims are magnesium. And the rims, they are not perfect. I said, I know, I did it on purpose.
Yeah.
The sides are not perfect because it is a magnesium casting.
Yeah.
And at that time, the magnesium casting was rough.
It was pitted on the back end, yeah.
It was not smooth. It was like that. To have done smooth like that, it would have been like to cancel the sign of the history of the car.
Yeah. So it's a balance between artwork and being a historian. You can't be too artistic, but you have to preserve history.
For a guy that wants to use it.
Yeah, no, it's a great car.
He wants to use it. He has got a 288 GTO that it is in the other shop, and a 40 and a 50. He wants to use it. The problem here was number one, the camshaft. I found 2 camshafts and we rebuilt the camshaft on the other side, but they are not the same. He changed the position of the pulley and of the sensor. Second problem, it was the electronic of the engine that was totally modified.
Right, they had to do the whole standalone management system for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have the original ECU.
Oh my, new old stock, huh?
Yeah, I looked for them.
Wow.
The other problem was they had modified the flywheel. I have remanufactured the correct one. The engine now is back to original condition. Another problem, it was the gearbox, because I tested the car and the gearbox of the F50 you can change with one finger. This one, it goes crunch. Sometimes I am a maniac, but for a reason.
Oh, wow. Wait, you redid this or you found this new?
I redid it.
Oh, good job. It looks really good.
Look at this. Huh?
Wow.
And it is neither yellow. For here, they did the yellow lights.
Yellow.
So what you do is
Take apart the whole lens.
carefully, I opened it, I recleaned inside, I painted the correct color, and I glue it back.
So we're gonna go back out again, I think in October and November, and we're gonna piece together an overall story of everything, not just the restoration guys and obviously the manufacturers, but all the companies that exist out there with the one word that we've heard over and over, passion. They all have incredible passion, and they've built their businesses amongst this passion, and they built that community with passion. And to this day, you feel it with everyone you speak to. So I think when this is done, and I think it'll probably be 6 or 7 months from now when we're ready to put this together, I think what we're going to be able to show the world is something incredible. And then maybe we could have a better understanding of why, the vehicles that we love, the vehicles that create so much emotion and passion within us, why they do that, and why it's not just about the design or the manufacturer. It's everything in that world out there in Motor Valley goes into creating that.